Well, you want to try to maintain your rank and positioning. Now, sales are good. It should be pretty easy to do. Okay. But but if you look at the bullet points on the right side of the screen, you'll see that the emphasis has changed. So supply chain, I put that on top. Okay. And then there's listing changes and advertising to consider below that. Okay. But the first point is a reminder that sales is a lifeblood of a listing's ranking. You need inventory to generate sales. Okay. So if you're low on stock, well, even though sales are just skyrocketing, you have to think of all the ways to try to maintain your sales volume and velocity without losing rank. And that's a very fine line to straddle. It's a good position to be in when you're in stock, but if you go out of stock and you're still feeling supply side constraints, right? Then you'll start worrying about that. So you have to juggle between the stock you have on hand and your supplier's ability, or the supply chain, the logistic infrastructure's ability, and Amazon's ability to allow you to restock your items if they're running low in stock. So you definitely have to plan for a spike in the cost of logistics. We have seen air quotes, they're just insane right now. Okay. And there's also inevitable delay in timeframes. Okay. You also want to anticipate additional changes to Amazon's fulfillment policies. This is a point that we've mentioned a couple times before, but you do want to keep a close eye on that. And you want to also consider if Fulfilled by Merchant and Seller Fulfilled Prime are an option for you at this point in time. So for Fulfilled by Merchant, that's great, but unless there's local ordinances or local laws or new enforcement or regulations from your local jurisdiction saying only essential business can operate, whereas a warehouse or a 3PL facility may not be considered an essential business operation. So again, there's so many things to consider that may impact your business that's unprecedented, that you have to decide on where's that fine balance you want to strike for business continuity for your own account. Okay. One thing that's pretty straightforward for us is if we look at the listing changes, if we look at the bullet point here, one of the most straightforward things to consider is that we have heard that Amazon is suppressing listings where the listings are attempting to optimize for the keywords coronavirus or COVID-19 or anything else that is related, very much a synonym or very closely related to topics of COVID-19 or coronavirus. Okay. So you definitely don't want to do that. Otherwise, Amazon will suppress that listing. The other thing to consider is to try to avoid price changes. Now, if you're running low on stock, one of the tactics to do is to try to not lose ranking completely, but try to segue and transition so that you'll slow sales down enough so that you could restock just in time as you're about to run out of stock or something like that. With those kind of strategies, you want to try to avoid price changes as much as possible because Amazon does record your price changes. They know your price history just as well as you do, just as well as your competition does with the tools that they're using to monitor price changes. But this is up to you. This is, definitely up to your discretion. But Amazon, one of the millions of things that the Amazon algorithm considers is the frequency of you changing your price. So what I'm definitely not saying is that having the same price all the time is a huge key factor in determining how your listing ranks, but it could be a factor. And it could definitely serve a role, maybe on a minor level, but a role nonetheless for Amazon's algorithm and in your organic rankings. But it also paints a picture to your customers as to, are you a seller that are you a seller with a product where the product prices just fluctuate wildly? So you definitely don't want to give that impression to your sellers, especially if you're trying to create and support a brand through the products that you're selling. Okay. From the advertising side, from the Amazon advertising side, some things that you want to consider is possibly to reduce bids and budgets to increase profitability. So this is potentially a way to slow down your advertising, although there are some experts out there who say that you really should not try to slow down your advertising efforts at all. But when push comes to shove, when reality hits, right, and you're down to your last 10 units of a product that you sell 500 units a day, one thing that you'll be probably considering is whether or not you should have slowed down your advertising efforts previously. There's no hard right or wrong answer to that as well, and that's something that it's ultimately up to you as a business owner to decide on what you need to do. One thing that is also a hard no for me is definitely do not pause your campaigns. So if you want to reduce the budgets for your campaigns, you want to reduce a campaign budget that previously was running at $10 a day down to $1 a day. I would say that's not too bad, but definitely don't pause your campaigns, because pausing campaigns is equivalent to the impact of pausing campaigns to the Amazon ad algorithm is pretty similar to the impact of your inventory running out of stock, your product running out of stock, and how the clock is ticking for you to restock on Amazon, and the impact on your product's organic ranking. Because I think at this point, we all understand that once a product is out of stock for 30 days, then Amazon pretty much may consider that listing as new again. So you're gonna have to do all this effort to get it re-ranked again, and so on and so forth. For brands and listings that are extremely strong and powerful, you could definitely recoup the organic ranking of top keywords for that product real quickly. But for many products, there is a reset to the honeymoon period again. So same thing happens with advertising, with campaigns. If you pause a campaign, then the clock starts ticking, and those campaigns can age out after 30 days. Okay. Something you want to consider is to focus only on the most profitable SKUs, targets, and placements. And what I mean by placements is top of search, product page placement, and rest of search. So if you are adjusting placement multipliers, those placement percentages, then you may want to devote, you may want to either increase percentages on the placements that are very profitable, or you may want to keep it as is for those top placements, but then reduce percentages for the placements that are not as profitable. Okay. Now, in case the scenario where the supply side is good and demand side is good, then pretty much my suggestion is to continue as business as usual. Continue creating the campaigns you've want based on the schedule that you wanted to create them. Continue to add the keywords that you wanted to add. Continue to expand on the keywords. Continue to negative exact match the search terms that don't make sense. Continue to adjust the bids based on the schedule that you have, and hopefully that schedule is at least once a week. At Correlate, we tune twice a week. We tune typically at the beginning of the week and the end of the week. But once that's generally what we would advise for you to do. But tuning the keywords and campaigns That should happen at minimum once a week. All right.